Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by NintenDaan to talk about his time at day one of Gamescom, where he was able to check out Nintendo's booth. So Don, what exactly did you get to see?
Well, way more than I was actually anticipating, to be really frank with you. Because usually what happens with Gamescom is that they have a few things to show, and that's about it. They will build here and there, but nothing too major. I got to see an entire new demo of Fire Emblem Warriors.
Oh wow!
I got to see a new Splatoon map. I got to play a new character of ARMS. It's sort of crazy.
Yeah, they kind of went all out for Gamescom for some reason. I guess since it's they have a bunch to show for this fall winter season. So yeah, wow.
And of course, I played some other stuff in between, like. I got to toy around a certain amount of time with the Switch version of Skyrim, and yeah, we'll get into that hopefully. But I have had a very good day, and Nintendo treated me very well.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez, you got to try out the new Manta Maria map as well as the Bubble Blower special.
Well, more particularly, the Forge Splattershot Pro. It's called, the weapon is called, it's attached to. But the Forge Splattershot, it's basically a Splattershot with a lot more range to it. Like, it has a really solid range. And I think it makes sense when it is combined with that Bubble Blower weapon, because you basically shoot through bubbles out. They flow through the air, and you just shoot at them, and they will just simply explode, which is a very important factor when it comes to that weapon. So combine that with a bit more range seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it seems like a very good combo, something that'll actually be able to take advantage of the Bubble Blower. I could see Chargers being a good fit for that as well, and the Splatling.
Yeah, I think Splatling and the Chargers are particularly good with it, but I'm more better with a splatter shot, so I'm actually happy that this is the first weapon it's attached to.
Get everybody used to it.
I was likely less inclined to try it more if it was a Charger or a Splatling.
Yes.
Yeah. And not that I don't like them. I mean, they have some really good parts about them, but for me, myself in particular, I do love myself the range of a splatter shot. And yeah, I played through that in particular on a new map, so the entire experience felt pretty new, all things considered. But what I liked about the map itself, it's very interesting. So it's a very close encounter map because it's very compact and small, actually. But what I like about it, in particular, is that you have these various routes to go for, and then it becomes a bit more open. You have this very small open area at your side, and then it goes into a middle half, which is very compact, and then it goes to the open half of your opponent. So those steps you need to pretty much keep in mind when you are approaching every side of that map, which at first you need to get your head around that, but once you get into game, it's really crazy.
It sounds pretty interesting. Like it sort of holds that factor of having smaller maps this time around in Splatoon 2, at least feeling that way, and it definitely seems like that for Manta Maria. And I'm looking forward to checking it out myself once it, because it's actually getting released really soon this Friday.
I think it's the best compared to the Starfish stage. Like, that stage is also pretty compact, but it has a huge open side in the middle, where this is more spread out in little chunks, and you have more room to hide yourself and then shoot from afar and then react to it.
Oh, okay. So, I'm looking forward to checking this one out. It sounds like it has a lot of potential, and hey, new maps are always great in Splatoon. And we won't have long to wait to try out the Forge Splattershot Pro, excuse me. And with the Splatfest coming up as well. So yeah, it was kind of cool that the timing kind of worked out with Gamescom for Nintendo. Just hey, we got this big stuff coming out, so you guys can look forward to that. So I'm actually very, very curious about Fire Emblem Warriors, because that new trailer came out and they showed off that basically all the siblings, I think Sakura is maybe the only one left out from the siblings for Fates. This lineup is just, I've seen somebody compare it to it oh cool, we got the Fates main cast, the Awakening main cast, and Marth. And that's our characters lineup so far, and that's just really disappointing in a way.
I agree. I think the character lineup of Fire Emblem Warriors is really disappointing. I don't get it. still at this point in time, and we haven't really talked about this like in this capacity, but my humble opinion about it is, like Hyrule Warriors before, they should make it more of a celebration of what is Fire Emblem.
Mm-hmm.
And with only 2 titles on the docket for the most part, it doesn't really seem like that's the case. Like, I'm not gonna say anything badly against like the characters that they chose, because honestly, if I would pick from those 2 games, it's are the same exact lineup. For example, I really love that GBA game, and like characters like Lyn, and the chance we will see them right from the get-go in that game are extremely slim.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of been the nice thing about these Dynasty Warrior type games. They're a celebration of the entire franchise of whatever they're handling, whether it's Hyrule Warriors, and I played a little bit of Dragon Quest Heroes. You know, they celebrate the entire franchise of both of those, like really, at least as much as possible. Like Dragon Quest doesn't have anything from 1 to 3 as far as characters, but at least there's plenty from 4 to 8. Like there's still a wide range of characters and some big fan favorites, and you have fan favorites within Fire Emblem, but then they're also like the ones you'd expect. There's no surprises. Like it was a surprise to have Tingle or Linkle or Agatha, you know, like these characters you would not expect, but you're still sort of like, yeah, no, I can kind of get behind that. And I think that's sort of, at least as far as the lineup, what's kind of missing from Fire Emblem Warriors. They have this huge opportunity with so many characters. They did a poll specifically for Fire Emblem Heroes to see which was the most popular. Use that poll.
Yeah, I actually think that Lyn came out on top there as well, so that actually makes it double bitter for me, because I still think she's one of the best female characters in the entirety of that franchise, but there you go. But let's be a bit more positive when it comes to the gameplay, because I think the gameplay, well, with the newly introduced characters, because basically the new lineup of characters that I played were basically mostly of the Fates characters. And I played as Camilla, I played as who was also a Pegasus rider on the Hoshido side. I don't remember.
Hanoka.
Hadoka, yeah. I play as those 2 mostly. I played a little bit of Sender, although I think I let Sender die because I wasn't really good with the horse at all. Yeah, and I played also a bit with Takumi, and Cordelia was surprisingly in there between all of the Fates characters.
I'm sure you had the exact same experience I did, where it's surprising just how different all these characters feel. And then, did you get that same experience?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the characters, how they are represented with their moves, with the strong and weak attacks, and the specials and awakening moves, all of that together make for some really interesting and diverse characters. But what I'm kind of like worried about is I see some tropes in there. Like they have a bunch of Pegasus riders, they have 1 horse, they have a bunch of sword characters. They seem to go for what would work in a setting and not something that feels very unique. That doesn't really matter at the end of the day if the gameplay is fun, and I think the gameplay is really fun. It was really surprising to play as Takumi. I really enjoyed that, even though his attacks are basically bow and arrow most of the time. But it makes for some really interesting battle play, because you need to keep more distance, you need to move around a little more, you need to dodge a little more, and I think I like that dynamic of it a lot.
I actually could see that being a lot of fun. Like, Linkle was really interesting to play as in Hyrule Warriors. Bianca was a lot of fun in Dragon Quest Heroes. Like, archers in these games tend to be some of the more interesting characters, so I could see Takumi being a lot of fun.
I think the Pegasus Riders also felt really nice. I was honestly super surprised by them. Like, before playing them, I didn't think they would work in this kind of setting at all. But how you move across the field and how so easily you can dodge with them, those are incredibly fun as well, and I can't wait to play a bit more with them. Can I also point out during this demo you were actually fighting Corrin?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it actually plays into the story of Fates a little bit. I think so.
It's what it seemed like from the trailer. Like they were gonna pull from that moment and like them begrudgingly taking the same side against a common enemy, that sort of thing. Which I guess could be interesting on its own, but it just, again, that lineup just needs to like get at least one or two other games represented in there. That's all I ask. Just to, I don't know, change it up a bit. But I mean, that's also the disappointing thing about it, is because the gameplay, from what I've seen, what I've experienced, is really good. Even what I'm hearing from you, it's still really good.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the gameplay a lot, and I have the what is it, the Japanese version pre-ordered, like the treasure box, because I collect everything Fire Emblem related.
Nice.
But this is the first time I think in a while that I don't really care if something with Fire Emblem branding on it. And it's not because I don't like the gameplay, because we have talked about Hyrule Warriors a bunch. I like that type of gameplay. But it's just the character lineup that needs to change so much. If that's going to happen, I kind of doubt it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to... I think we're getting closer and closer to the final lineup. But it's even crazy that Marth is the only character from his game so far, which is kind of sad.
Not even Sita. I was surprising Sita at this point.
Yeah. You think she'd pop in there, or maybe the Pegasus Knight girls from his game, or especially since they just appeared in Echoes. You know, there's all these opportunities for these characters, and they're just not taking them. And I mean, maybe it'll affect the DLC. Like that's I think our only hope is DLC characters, which still sucks, because if you want to play the characters you really want, you got to get DLC.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So, do you want to talk about ARMS?
Did you get to play as Lola Pop? So how's she play?
She's dang speedy. Very impressively fast. I think she might be one of the fastest characters in the game so far. I think her movement is very interesting, because she can block back from the air. But her free arms steal the show. Like that shield arm is the best defensive weapon in the game by far.
Oh, it looked it just because it actually bounced the attacks back, and if you can angle it right, it'll actually hit the person throwing the punch. Like, that was really cool.
Yeah, that side of it is amazing. But also that you just can also use that shield as an attack, like a shield bash. And especially when you are doing the special moves, or you are completely charged up, that thing does 320 damage.
Holy cow.
That's insane.
Yeah. No kidding. Jeez. I mean, it's great to see. I mean, she seems to have a lot of potential, and I like speedy characters, and the fact it's kind of cool that like she's so speedy, but her special like balloons her up, so I guess her defense increases.
Yeah, if you shield, her entire body just turns into a gigantic balloon.
Yeah, I like the concept for her, like this crazy clown girl with the parachute pants and the crazy arms to go with it. It's like I'm sort of down with it. And I like the look of her gameplay so far. I don't actually own arms yet, but I can see people having fun.
The other two arms are also pretty fun. One of them is basically nunchucks. That's also a pretty new one, because I've never been in the game before. But it's a pretty weird arm to have, because basically when you're like tilting your arm around, you see actually nunchucks moving in circles. It's really funny. And it's a really fun attack. It's not as a strong attack, and it has a decent range, like a better range than the shield. The shield doesn't actually reach all that far. Okay. But it compensates that in different areas, of course. This one has a decent length, and like the third arm is not really all that interesting. It's more like the homie attack, where they throw the three little homie missiles towards an opponent again, which also had been in different characters. But 2 out of 3 is not bad.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have too much else to say about her, but she does look fun, and that's really all you can ask for when it comes to these new characters, especially when she's free. You know, she's just part of the update, along with her stage. Like, that's, again, really great support for this game. But I guess before we wrap up here, I am curious, how did Skyrim play on the Switch?
really good. I really like playing it in handheld mode. So I played it two ways. First, I played it solely with the handheld mode, and it seemed to play fine. Every content little there, it ran perfectly fine. I had no issues there, and it seemed to like span the open world that you would expect from the other versions. More interesting enough is when you pull off the Joy-Cons and actually start doing the motions for the weapons, because if you ever played Skyrim, you will know that ZL and ZR actually move your weapons around. They move that functionality in sort of a chop motion with motion controls.
Oh,
which
okay.
which seems random. That being said, it's the company that also has done Stranger Things in the past, so I'm not here to judge. But it didn't seem like a way I would play the game. It seemed like just fluff.
A gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pure gimmick that really isn't going to attract anybody to it.
Yeah. Because basically you can do the same move still with the same buttons you already have on the controller.
You might as well just stick to the usual ones. But I'm just happy to see, like, yeah, it's an older game, but it's a big game on the Switch, on the handheld mode, and to see that it handles it apparently just fine. That's great. That's awesome. Alright, well, I think that covers it for our Gamescom discussion, so thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Don, where can they find you at?
You can follow me on Twitter at NintenDaan, that's NintenDaan. Find some rhythm stuff likely on Nintendo World Report over the next couple of days. Not so much right now, because I am tired from a very long day, but expect more across the weekend during the weekend when I get back home. But I would say that Nintendo delivered some goods this year.
Yeah, sounds like it. So, thank you for joining us, and of course, make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Nintendo and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.